Good evening, tribe. What is going on? It has been a minute. I hope everybody is well. It is freezing outside. For those of you who have just joined and have never been on an episode of We Ear Hustling Baby, I am Nubi the Ear Hustler. This is We Ear Hustling Baby. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. This has been an exciting week. Hey, Means. Mwah. I miss you. I've been preparing to talk to two amazing musicians, artists, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer. Like, these two have impressed the hell out of me, and I'm excited to talk to them. I have been on a hiatus, and hey, Angel, I've been on a hiatus for a minute, working on some things, trying to get me together. It's 2024, so that means it's time to bring in some good things. Thank you, Means. I appreciate you. For those of you, again, who are new, I talk to up-and-coming artists. I talk to established artists, and I enjoy getting their music out there and having conversation about what it is that they're doing, how they're doing it, and getting them out there so that I can share them with the masses. Cristy B is already in the building. I'm getting ready to bring her on in. And the other guest is Antone Amalbert. And I'm sure that I slayed the last name, so we're going to get that right too. Let me go ahead and bring Cristy on in. And then we will get Antone in, and we're going to get this party started. I have accepted the invite. Hey!
Hey!
How you doing, love?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am, man, trying to stay warm.
Absolutely.
You know, it's that time of year. It's cuffing season.
Absolutely.
And I hope everybody has someone wonderful that they can cuddle with, even if it's a teddy bear. You know how that goes, right?
Absolutely.
That time of year. So I was just talking a little bit about you. I've got Antone. I think he just sent a request. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on in.
Awesome.
And so the first thing I want to do is say thank you. One, hey, Antone, how you doing?
What's happening?
I got some of the most talented people in the building. A Murph, I see you, baby. Thank you for joining. The one thing I wanted to do is thank Lex for putting me on to the both of you.
Absolutely.
Because cultural movement, thank you for joining. You know, I get so many DMs with great music, great musicians. And, you know, sometimes I think in the midst of all of it, trying to catch everything and catch everybody, I miss some good ones. And you two have been on my radar off and on. And so I'm just glad that you accepted my request to get you guys on and talk to you a little bit about what you guys have going on. So I'm going to reset the room really quickly. I am Nubi the Ear Hustler. The show is We Ear Hustling Baby. Tonight's amazing guests. I have Cristy B in the building. I got Antone. Antone, please pronounce your last name for me so I don't slay it.
You actually did good. You can say Amalbert. Amalbert is fine.
Okay. All right. I'm glad, because, you know, I don't want to be foolish and be like, oh. So I'm glad that I said it close to right. Talk to me about, and I'm sorry, I'm just jumping right in, but you both hail from Texas. Tell me how you guys met. Jay Swiss is in the building.
Lex.
We met through Lex. That's
exactly Lex. Lex is the common link. Absolutely.
Okay. So Lex is also a producer, and he has put out stuff, and I'm going to get with him on some things, you know, down the line. But he put me on to y'all, and I was like, yo, why did I not like hear this? And I think, Cristy, I started following you first. So now he connected the dots.
Lex
Cristy, yes. Lex.
What up, Lex? What up, Lex?
I just finished shouting you out, my brother. Thank you for connecting the dots on this one. So, Cristy, tell me a little bit about your history in music growing up in Texas. What part of Texas specifically did you come up in?
I'm out straight out of Oak Cliff. OCT. Oak Cliff. That's my hood.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Oak Cliff. Man, born and raised. I went to South Oak Cliff High School. I started working at the radio station when I was 15 years old. I started going up there when I was 14. And I pretty much forced them to give me a job because that was the closest thing we had to the music industry in Dallas at the time. And I was like, you know what, if I can get in here, you know, I ain't had no songs, I ain't had no demos, no nothing. I just knew, I was like, if I can get in here, I can make something happen. And lo and behold, you know, I went in there and I got a job being a board operator. And I started going into the production rooms in there and I started figuring out, I was like, damn, I can record an album in here. So every chance I got, I was in there in them folk production room after the actual staff left. They worked till 5 or 6, 7 sometimes, and I got off at 10. And I would go in there and I would stay in there all night long and make me some music. You know, like at the time when I was first getting into radio, we always had a crate of CDs, right? Because you know the labels would always send like you know new music, and it'd always be the song, the acapella version, and the instrumental. So I was real big on I ain't heard it before, so I'll just go in there and listen to the song, put the instrumental in, and start singing over it, you know. So that's how it happened, you know. And I met Lex. I was around 14, 15. I met Lex because I wanted to do a talent show at my high school. And we had a DJ came through, the DJ BMX, Brian Monday. He came through and he introduced himself to everybody. He came over to the AM side. I worked on the AM side. So BMX introduced himself. I was like, you know, he gave me his card and stuff. And the talent show came up. And I was like, yeah, I got to get a DJ to clean up. I was trying to find somebody to give me an instrumental to something I wanted to work on and put a show together for me. So I was like, man, I'm going to call this dude. So I called him. And so I ended up being a part of Soulful Noise, which BMX, you know, had that pop. And it was me and Lex. We were his little proteges, right? We made flyers. And it was like, you know, it was real like, you know, break boy type stuff. Like, you know, straight hip hop. Straight hip hop. With no R&B on that joint, you know what I'm saying? So I started singing over boom bap and, you know, beats like that and stuff. And you know, that's really where I got my start. You know, breakers, break dancing, cardboard on the floor, helmets. You know, we was over there. I was out there bad. I was 14, 15 years old. They jumping out the truck, this, you know, tagging stuff, cans of spray paint. I'm sitting there shaking spray paint up. I didn't know what they was going to do. You know, but that, you know, it was the culture was real rich for me at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that, hip hop and R&B and the crossing over of it, a lot of times I think artists find out who they really are by kind of, mixing and matching a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You talking about breaking, you talking about pulling out we talk about it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah. You know, so I think that's dope. And I think it's dope that you had access to a studio and being able to get into production and hearing and you were allowed in that environment. Because as women, a lot of times we don't get that opportunity. You know what I mean? No. I think, it's obviously a male dominated situation.
Absolutely.
All of it, not just hip hop, but even production, engineering. Absolutely. And you do broadcast engineering, which we're going to get into in a minute.
Absolutely.
Antone, tell me about it. How did you get started? And you're also from Texas, but you're from what part of Texas?
Well, I currently live in Dallas.
Dallas,
but I moved here in 2003. Born in Germany.
Wow.
Wurzburg. And then when we came to the States, I was in Queens.
Oh, I just left Queens not too long ago.
Yeah. So I was there. Then my father got stationed at Fort Hood, which is in Texas. So we lived in Temple. So we were there, went to College of Tech. After Tech, I went to London on tour with a trombone choir. Crazy. and then came back to the States, and then we ended up here in '03. And I was very quiet when I moved here in regards to I didn't reach out to a lot of my peers. I just, tried to get a bearing on my surroundings and what the climate was like musically. Saw some great things when I first came down there. I recall, like, I think within the first 2 months of being here, I went to a spot off of 635 in Webb Chapel, like somewhat near North Dallas, if you can call it that. And I walked in, and Biz Markie was DJing. I was
Wow.
like, where the hell am I at? So,
I love it.
so I think
Love
the first 4 years I just hung out with the hip hop community here. That's when I met Lex, and then a lot of my friends. And then I started to play live, which I had already been playing all my life. But then I started to meet the other side, the gospel artists and the soul artists and the people that would introduce me to a ton of people to where I can get my name out there. I would say I was envious of a lot of my peers because they got to do this for a living after school, and I went to corporate America. But as time progressed, I appreciated that path that I took. So when I started doing this full time about 10 years ago, I got my first placement, I think, 2014. First one. I'm a little over 200 now.
Say that.
Placements.
Yes, sir.
Got my first Grammy nomination in 2017. I'm a voting member for the Recording Academy now. And I've been doing that for some time. I've got to meet some amazing people, and I've gone from asking questions and not getting the answers to being the person that's asked. And I do give freely of myself. Open door policy. If I know it, you'll know it if you ask me. If I don't know it and you don't, then we'll go find somebody who does, and we'll learn
I
together.
love that.
That's the mentality that I have. I've always loved music. I came out the womb. Before I could speak or talk, I could turn on a stereo.
Talk about it.
So and now that's turned into, I went to school for composition, so I can write, I read, I play by ear, I can play almost anything I get my hands on, and this is what I do for a living. And I'm very good on the business acumen part, which a lot of us understand that's a challenge in this industry. Be it you don't know, or people take advantage of you and you assume that's the way that it's supposed to go.
Agreed.
So aside from putting together these albums, what I also do is I teach students coming up. I teach engineering, I teach production, and then I just talk to the artists. Do you know how to find your splits? Do you know how to put your information in? Do you know how to, make sure you're being treated fairly? So that's what I do, and that's what I love to do.
I love it.
Right on.
Give me 1 second, because my cat's about to tear up something. One second.
Goodness.
Okay, Kat. Okay. Sounds like.
What up, Tone?
What up, girl? How you
Okay,
doing?
sorry about that. I'm about to kill the cat. Taz, I see you. So, one of the things that I'm hearing from both of you, and you probably don't even realize it, is the humility and being humble. And then at the same token, willing to share the knowledge. I feel like there's a big conversation around, especially Antone, what you just talked about, the business acumen. A lot of these young kids want to come out and just do music. I love music. I want to rap. I want to sing. And they don't understand the totality of what an artist really means to be. And I'm so happy to hear that you're willing and able to teach and speak on it. And the corporate side of the house, I also have a 9 to 5. It's important to understand how to speak to people. You know what I mean? How to engage, how to establish relationships.
Listen, the industry we're in, 80% of this industry is relationships.
Absolutely.
Genre does not matter, and your race, color, creed, all that goes out the window.
Absolutely.
If I can trust you in a room and we can create something special that lasts even after we're gone, then that's what it's about, right? If as a producer, I understand my job is to create a platform where you feel totally comfortable bearing your soul to strangers. That's what that is.
Absolutely.
Shout out to D-Box. He said 90%. Yes, sir. That's one of
Thank
my
you for
go-to.
joining.
That's
You
one of
right
my
about it.
producers,
So it's
D-Box.
like
Yes, sir.
if we can work with someone that we trust,
Mm-hmm.
who's not going to snake us, get
Mm-hmm.
over on us. If an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
presents itself, you understand how you got there, and it's a team effort. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
one person.
Yes.
Come on,
Absolutely.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell
everybody
you,
wins.
I got some amazing people that are joining tonight. I got Ultra Mag 7 in the building, another great curator of hip hop and
Mm-hmm.
music. Be Cool, C Fresh, I see you. Taz,
Mm-hmm.
I see you. Listen, this is another reason why I like to do the interviews, is because just like you said, the relationships,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we get done with this interview, this is an opportunity in my mind for now me to continue to connect the dots for
Absolutely.
y'all. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And I think
Appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Thank you.
that's so important. You know, Cristy, I listen to your music. I think My Story and Bus Stop are probably two of my favorite
Mm.
songs
Mm-hmm.
that you put
Mm-hmm.
out, and I want to get into it a little bit. Talk to me about your influences, and specifically with these two songs, My Story and Bus Stop. Bus Stop resonated with me because I feel like that song is about life and it's grinding.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really mince words. You're like, all right, ho, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh,
That's my girl.
okay,
That's
we
my
talking
girl.
right. You know what I mean? But you
Yeah,
also talking.
bus stop. Yeah, bus stop actually came at a time in my life when I was truly hustling. Like I don't hide nothing. Like I was literally hustling on the train, on the DART train and the DART bus. And my guy pulled up. He was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey, waiting at the bus stop, wrapping my lollipop. When baby pull in the parking lot, jumped out his ride like, hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Yes, ma'am.
I told him my money funny, but I ain't worried about it. They ain't taking nothing from me. Like it's just straight up. Like I'm at the bus stop. I'm finna go and this is the safest way to me. Get on the bus and hustle.
Yes, yes.
I'm
I
riding
love it.
around with something, riding around. They can search the car. They ain't too privy to like looking in my backpack while I'm on the bus.
Wow, wow. And I think it's relatable.
Songbird White.
Hey,
Uh-huh. That's my
Songbird. Listen, it's
cousin.
hey, cuz. We all cousins now, damn it.
Yeah, she
There it
crazy.
is.
You got to get her on
Listen,
here too. She crazy with it. That's my
uh-huh.
cousin. Yes.
Listen, if you're a musician and you're on here, reach out to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Send me your music. I mean, I
Absolutely.
reached out to this team here, this dynamic duo, and just amazed me like how responsive you were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Tone, you took a song and remixed and sampled and chopped the hell out of it, an OJ song, and I was like, oh, he really did that.
Oh,
So
hey, I am a man of my
I
word. If I say I'm gonna
see.
do it, trust I'm gonna do it.
See, I love
Believe
it.
that.
I love it.
Oh, but can I
Now,
say something real quick?
absolutely.
As it pertains to my story,
Mhm.
the first time I ever met Tone,
Yes.
I walked in his studio, and we was in there for probably about I don't know how long, maybe 30 minutes or so,
Mm.
just chopping it up, talking. He sit down at the board, and he goes to do some stuff, and I'm sitting on the couch or wherever I was sitting, and I was like, no, 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 no. And then I was like, oh, I got something. He was like, all right, well, let's lay it. And it was like immediate. It wasn't no pen, no paper, no nothing. So
Doesn't.
my story is like straight off the dome. He was straight off the dome, I was straight off the dome, and that's how my story came about. The second verse, and then when it came time for the second verse, I couldn't come up with none because I had spilled everything on the first. I was like, this is just gonna be an intro, right? I was like, I
Nah.
got plug out of NY, real solid, real nice guy. Told me to stop by anytime. Gave me a key, says I'm his daughter now. I got a cousin up in VA. Thugging real hard, but then he got saved. Told me he prays for me every day. He prays that the Lord increases my faith. Oh, I, right?
That's it.
I might as well tell my story,
Man.
That's
right?
it.
So, and then Lawyer Turner with his genius self comes in and creates the second verse. Sexy little thing got the dirty, dirty D. Met a fine little something, thought it was. And it just meshed together so good. I was like, oh, it's a whole song now.
Yeah.
It's a whole
What was
song.
cool
Right?
about verse number 2 is we took all the titles of all the songs on the
Yes,
EP
he did.
and we
Yeah.
put them in the second
Wow.
verse. So if you go look at the song titles, you hear all of them in the second verse.
Right.
Every
single song title's in the second verse. And it's like, it was, I was like, man, because at first I was like, this is just going to be an intro. I can't come up with nothing else. I ain't even worried about coming up with nothing else. And Tone was like, hold on, put these tools in your belt.
Look, she said, you better quit playing with us.
Quit playing. He's like, quit playing. He said, put these tools in your belt. I said, all right, I got it.
Yes.
Now my tool belt carrying me. I can't even carry the tool belt no more. He got so many tools in my belt, it's ridiculous.
B-Boy Soul, thank you for joining. So Tone, tell me a little bit about the production side. Frankie Salvation from Weekly Rap Guys is in the building. Tell me a little bit about the musicality. That is so it is so catchy. Dun, 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 dun. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, tell me about creating that song.
So as far as my story, it was based off a sample first, and we sampled Christy's Godmother. So
wait, hold on. Christy? Who's Christy's godmother?
Millie Jackson, the one and only. The one and only. The one and only.
What?
Yep.
The one and only Millie Jackson. That's who taught me to be. Man, listen. I want to take y'all away from what you. We'll talk about.
Yeah, okay, Tom, come on with it. Because now I'm hyped. I'm like, Millie Jackson.
Yeah,
Millie Jackson.
She was doing her good work. So it's interesting. I don't ever take the same approach when I'm doing production. For me, it's very organic in the sense of I just do what feels good. I always go for feel, because if I was in the audience, the thing that would pull me in, it's not about how complex it is, how crazy something sounds. If it feels good, if I want to dance, to me, that's what's important, because the people who can't do what we do, this is why they spend money, to appreciate the things that we do.
Absolutely.
So if it feels good to us, I know it's going to feel good to them, because we're extra critical of ourselves. So, just for me to meet her face to face, we had talked on the phone, but for us to meet face to face, get a vibe for each other, to be comfortable with each other, I was just playing based on the conversation, which segued into, she was like, I want to sing. I just turned on the mic. If it's right, it's going to happen. You don't have to force anything. The good songs, you don't have to force anyway. So even though her upbringing was hip-hop based, and I knew she could appreciate it, I heard what she can do based on the other songs that we had worked on. So from a creative standpoint, I just wanted to see. Like I say, in the first Color Purple, I just want to stand back and see what color the wall's going to be. So, and that's what I did. So I added my 5 cents, and we did that, and then it just grew from there organically, coming up with the ideas of the songs. And what Christy's not saying is she's also a phenomenal producer. She's being very, very humble right now. She's
I forgot.
Don't forget, mother. Don't forget.
Kelly Douglas, thank you for joining.
Kelly Douglas, phenomenal.
Yes, another phenomenal singer. I discovered up like 5 or 6 singers through you guys.
And
I started following them. So yeah, we gonna get this shit jumping.
Right.
Absolutely. But yeah, sometimes I'll sample. I think for the first 7 years of doing production, I didn't sample. I didn't believe in it. Because I was a purist. As time progressed, I understood that I was naive in my thinking, because everybody does some form of interpolation. We always get back what we listened to. So it's all about, if you do sample, how do you chop it up and how do you make it your own? How do you take the idea and build from it, as opposed to just regurgitating somebody else's idea, trying to make bread off of it. So when I chop it up to be damn, now it's mine, right? right? So, but then I'll go and I'll incorporate real instrumentation. I'll play keys. I'll add horns. You
My
know,
story.
I'll
Yes.
do all of that,
Yes.
and then you just hear it's like, I don't know why this sounds like this. I just got to keep playing it over and over again. And is that not the goal? Come on, somebody.
Yes.
Talk about it. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I think the other thing too is, synergy, right? And you know when you walk into a room, I think especially as creatives, whether something is going to move you, whether that person's energy is going to work with your energy. Talk to me about both of you, and Cristy, I'll go to you next, about picking up on signals from other musicians and people that you've worked with, and how challenging that can be.
You got it, Cristy.
I got it.
You got it, baby.
All right. So I'm in my room right now. This is my studio. Like I said, I started off in a room by myself. So I'm accustomed to being a one-woman show, right? It wasn't until probably about maybe 4 or 5 years after I walked in that room by myself to where I could actually open up and work with even an engineer, because I'm so accustomed to recording myself. And I stack so many vocals and I come up with so many ideas and I erase so many ideas and I lay so many ideas and stuff until an engineer would slow me down. And it's very seldom that I sit down and write down anything, because I'm accustomed to being by myself, right? So I literally had to break that mold and let people in. And I had to start adapting to having other people in the room with me in order to grow, because I found myself just stuck in this same area of, this is how it's going to go, and this is how, and I never want to be monotonous, right? I never want to just continue to create the same thing over and over and over. As far as writers, I never had any. I would let some people come in and maybe change up a few things, and I'm big on giving credit and stuff like that. It had nothing to do with I just want to be the one person. It's just I knew what felt good to me. I knew how to do this. But when I worked on this project, this was literally the first time that I was able to actually walk in a room and say, okay, I'm about to let go and let God, and we're gonna make this thing work. Because not only did I walk in and create brand new stuff, a lot of the stuff on my project is from my hard drive from years ago, and we came in and renewed it. You know what I mean? And so I had to be able to say, okay, hands off. Let me let Antone come in here and do what he's known to do. Let me let Lawyer come in here and do it. And I didn't have nothing to say. And a lot of the people that's close to me, like, you change, because I play music for people all the time that's close to me. You changed that record. They don't even sound the same. At the beginning, it was like, you shouldn't have changed. You should. But now they listen to the new music and they don't even know how the old stuff sounds no more. Me either.
I love it. I love it.
So it's one of those things to where, but on the flip side of that, if I walk in a room and I'm not feeling it, I ain't gonna create. Like my guy Bots, he has the cookout. He does it like every 3 months or so. And he has these different rooms in these studios, and you go in and you work with all these different producers and stuff. It's never been a time when I went in and I didn't feel comfortable enough to just go, boom, here we go on the spot. Me and my cousin Songbird White, we go in the room, boom, here it is. We may knock out 5 or 6 hooks because it feels good, right? If it don't feel good, I ain't opening my mouth. And I have the right to say I ain't doing it. I have the right to walk out.
Right.
But if it feels good, I don't mind lending, my harmonies and melodies, and because I know the business too. I know how to, make sure, we're gonna make sure these splits are right. And, I know who I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? But, before I walk in any of these rooms and stuff, I make sure the business is on point, because,
you have to.
This is my sound. Yeah. It's my intellectual property.
Absolutely.
And I've worked with artists who don't want to credit me, or who have a hard time crediting me. I don't care if you gotta list me as a featured artist or whatever. You still gotta credit me, because that's my sound. And that Cristy B sound is strong. It's strong. Even when I've ghostwritten, I've been a ghostwriter all my life since I was 14 years old.
But
you know
what's so funny? When I'm hearing you say this, I don't like your presence. Doesn't make me feel like I would want to cross you. You know what I'm saying? Or that I would want to, try and play with you. You come on and you obviously about your business. So, I think it has a lot to do with people just, being in their own world and, being selfish. And this industry is a lot of that. So you have to be able to navigate through it. Tone, what about you? What about your experiences with that? Like engagement?
It's been tricky. Let me tell you what I mean. Starting out, we're all trying to learn. We're all trying to perfect our craft. And you come across people who they'll have a niche or a group, and it's not that you're trying to get in somewhere. You just want to learn. And they Hollywood talk you. Oh, you know how it goes. You figure it out. And it's not like I want to, it's not that I'm trying to pick out your thing or your secret. It's just that I want to know what I can do. Judge me, tell me if I have an opportunity somewhere, help me understand how I can improve. Lord forbid we improve together, change the sound and change people's perspective on how something should be. And then people start coming to us. We can teach, create more, grow. I've always been looking for that. First 10 years, never found it. Had to bump my head, figure things out, work 50 hours a week, and then come home and then try, family and everything. And they were very understanding of my passion. So I still allocated time to my family, but then I would have to try and sneak those 2-3 hours in. How do I get that kick to pop like what I hear on the radio? How do I get that right chord progression? What can I play? Because I don't want to sound like everybody else. And then every now and then you meet somebody who pours into you, and they don't have to know who you are. When you go to the studio, be like, oh, you want to learn? Come here. Let me show you. It's those relationships that I cherish. It's those type of relationships that have got me to this point, because it wasn't about just me. It's the fact that I partnered with the great bass player, Jay Sanford, who was playing on this EP
My
as
Story,
well.
Easy.
I partnered with a great writer, Lawyer Turner, partnered with other producers outside of myself, because I don't know everything. Other people that I trust, me, Rodney Jones, Daniel Jones, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Who was Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson's MD, but he was also my brother and my neighbor. Lived 2 streets over, and we didn't talk about all the stuff that we do outside of the house. We talked about what it meant to be family man and the things that were important to people, because when you come into the studio, as you were saying earlier, you want to feel comfortable with people. My studio's in my home, and if I trust you to come into my home,
right? Absolutely.
Right? So, and I'm a very easygoing person. I'm very peaceful, but I'm very protective. You don't have to be blood for me to be protective over you.
Right.
And I'm just as protective over your music. I'm just as protective when you're not in the room. So if you're a part of it, I'm looking out for it like it's mine. That's the mentality we need to have. And the people that I work with that have gotten us to this point, and we all aspire for more, this is my team, right?
Right.
And we all pour into each other. Hey man, you can, tighten that up if you do X, Y, and Z. Hey, you can do this. To every producer that's on here, I strongly suggest we all partner with a great engineer. Engineers make producers better. They do.
Yes.
I've been blessed with the opportunity. I learned from an amazing engineer when I was in college, and I wasn't even trying to be an engineer, but he showed me and he trained me to be one. So being an engineer who went to school for composition and not a producer who has a program who thinks they can engineer is a difference.
Talk about it.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Right. So I respect the craft. I respect other engineers. If I'm doing production on something, I send my stuff out to other people at mix just to keep me honest.
You have to. I think
So
it's important that you get the feedback from the people that have the expertise so that you can become better. And Frankie, yes, I'm very protective of my people. So I understand. I work with an artist by the name of Jay Swiss, who is absolutely just stupendous. I work with other people. I do co-hosting on Weekly Rap Gods. And I have to deal and talk to people who can also pour into me. So to hear both of you speaking and giving accolades to the people that you have worked with, that have poured into you, that have shared their knowledge, this is what it's all about.
Right.
We're coming up, we're not coming up because I'm sure we're all around the same age group. We are seeing a lot of I'll get you later. Oh no, we'll talk about now I can't show you that because if I show you that, then you take me. There's just this like back and forth.
it's Hollywood
Right.
talk. It's the
Yeah,
Hollywood
it's
talk.
Like you
basically
said.
Or
it's
like
industry talk. It's I
that
tell
part.
people I don't fool around with the industry, but I know the business. Yeah, I ain't dealing with that industry
And
shit.
here's the other
You say
thing.
that.
It really only takes you picking up a book.
Yeah.
It really only takes you
And,
Listen,
calling someone and saying, "Hey, I don't know. Can you tell?"
it's hard
So
for
I'm
people
gonna say
to say I
this.
don't know. They don't like being that type of transparent and being vulnerable.
There's
But I
ego.
mean, but that goes to the point of people taking advantage of that. Oh man,
mhm.
I was talking to him and he doesn't know or she doesn't know, blah, 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 this, that, and other and the third. And people, unfortunately, people have to be protective because everybody
Right.
attracts each other.
Right.
And I have no problem saying I know unequivocally, I don't know everything.
You can't. And I'm gonna tell you what. If you can't learn something from somebody else at any given point in time, you will
Oh,
fail. You will stay
absolutely.
in that little corner, in that little hole that you in, and you just can't always be the smartest person in the room. You just cannot.
I vow not to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
And
If
even
I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong
That's
room.
right.
because you're not learning at that point. And even, Cristy, you said, you weren't really used to working. I think that's just because you weren't used to working with other people. You trust you. You know what I'm saying? And
But I've been burned too prior
sure.
to that. I've been told what I was doing wasn't
Right.
gonna work. Oh no, that's not gonna work. So I made sure that I found out that it would work.
Right.
And then once I found out it would work, I had no problem, saying embracing other ideas. But I needed to work on me first and get me together because I couldn't sing at first. I tell you, I was flatter than a foot.
You just didn't, right? You just didn't know. No.
Flatter than a foot.
You
Not a
just didn't
foot.
know. You just didn't know. You didn't know. Someone had the right person didn't bring it out of you.
Yeah. And I was like 11 or 12 in this gospel group, and I had all these great Dwayne Hicks, lawyer's father is my big brother. I was 11, and I was in a group with him and this guy named Kelby, and it was a group. Joyce Ann Brown, God rest her soul, is my cousin. She served a lot of years in prison, being falsely accused and stuff. And she created this group to go around with her once she was released. We would sing everywhere. And baby, when I tell you I'd be hollering out just as flat, I was flat. Okay.
Frankie Salvation said, stop talking about his feet like that.
Yeah, hilarious.
Baby, Frankie, I was flatter than your foot. Baby, you couldn't get no flatter than I sang. And then when I go up a little louder, I get as sharp as a knife.
I know that's right.
And so it was through that I learned that you're hollering out real loud and wrong. You gotta find out where you're supposed to be.
She said it wrong, loud and wrong.
Listen, it's okay. You know how many people we deal with on a daily basis that are confident in their wrongness?
Baby, I was one of them.
Nah, it's some whole other thing, okay? But
Nubi, I know what you mean.
Let me reset the room real quick.
Absolutely.
For those of you that have just joined, I am Nubi the Ear Hustler. This is We Ear Hustling Baby, and tonight's guests are the amazing Cristy B and Antone Amalbert, who, man, they are creating, and this is something I wanted to ask y'all. So you create both of y'all with so many different talented musicians, instrumentalists. How do you choose?
You do what feels right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cause and I don't mean to overstep, but
Go ahead.
Easier. I just saw LA, the Los Angeles. That's my big sis. LA, she's in the room.
Taylor Project is in the building. God bless.
Already. So me and LA, we came together and we did this record, and I sung it, and I actually left after I did. There she is, LA to Los Angeles music. I laid Easier's hook and the verse and I think the bridge, and then I walked out and left and went to another session at my house. I was at my house and I left and went to another session. When I got back home, she laid a whole second verse. When I got back home, I was like, "Oh yeah, this record gonna work. This is it." I sat on we sat on that record for years. I took that record to Antone and he revived it, and we you know so that being said, it's like you never know. Make the music. That's what I tell people. Make the music. Make the music. You sitting around, even if you got to put it in a voice recorder, make the music.
Yeah.
I think us as creators, we have to put it out. If we don't put it out, we musically constipate ourselves.
That's right.
Because
you get stuck.
You have to, and it's not that after you flush the idea out, be it from a production standpoint or you record the song, sometimes it's just for you. Sometimes what you're creating isn't for that time. Being somebody who has done production now for I can say 26 years. I've been doing this for 26 years. And there are tracks that I've made 12 years ago that are about to come out November of this year.
Talk about it.
Now that is one of the biggest things that people don't pay attention to as musicians and as artists. They think that, this old good music has no time.
Baby.
That's it.
Easier is 12 years old.
Easy. And I believe that. And I'm listening to y'all, and I'm listening to your music, and I'm listening to what y'all are doing, and I'm just like, this is the stuff that resonates with people. This is the stuff that will sit with people. You guys have specifically chosen artists, and I went through your page, Antone, and I went through all of the artists that you have done songs with, that you shared, including the hip hop artists. And when I tell you that I did not like anything, I was like, well, damn, what can y'all not do?
I'm going to tell you the part that scares. That's just a few. I'm not done posting.
Listen, when I read, Cristy, I read your bio, Antone, I went through, and I wrote this stuff down because I want to get into a little bit of who you've worked with. Pete on the boards in the building. So I'm going to go with the newer artists, and then I'm going to go with some of the more established, longer term artists. So Bray's Anatomy, Claudia Melton, Bly the Dentist, Dana Harper Music, Kelly Douglas, who's on with us now. In terms of hip hop, _Dr. Butcher. I never heard of Dr. Butcher, but his flow was kind of retarded. I'm sorry, that's not politically correct. Crazy. But it was crazy. I was like, okay.
Who gets it is me.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you mean.
Just Miz Music, Blanche J, like all these people.
Blanche.
Yeah, and I'm like,
shout out Blanche J.
They sound good live.
They're a problem live. I'm telling you, all of them are. And from me being able to encourage, I'll say that, because what you do in the studio is not the same as what you do live. What you do live is not the same as what you do in the studio. These are two totally different atmospheres, and you have to have the right approach. But as with anything that you do, when you put out music, this is the equivalent of you creating something that people don't have or don't realize they need. I tell people all the time, I'm insane. I come into this room to create something that no one has asked for in the hopes that they'll spend money for it. So, and this is what I do for a living. So I'm keeping my blood pressure low so far. but for them, for them to come in here and they create what they create, I was like, all right, so what's next? Because the first question I always ask is, what's your plan? We don't want to do all of this work as creatives somebody who writes, somebody who does uh, production. We don't want to do all of that for no one to ever hear it.
Right.
So how do we ask for the business? If you do a show and you get to open up for somebody, do you ask for that opportunity? Shout out Blanche J. We had a whole conversation about that. She came down, we met. She was actually coming down for a show. I found out she was coming down. I flew her in about 3 or 4 days earlier so we could work in the studio that week. I didn't want to put too much on her because I know she needed to have her voice for the show. When it came time for the show, I actually ended up playing for her live. So what that turned into is 3 months after that, she moved here from South Carolina.
Wow.
And last year, after she moved in, she did some shows. She was like, I need that opportunity. I said, you've opened for some amazing people at spot dates here and there because they know who you are. How many of them have you asked, can I go on the road with you? Can I, if you like what I did here, can I go on the road? Or from the relationships you have. Segue into last year, she went on tour with Ari Lennox the entire
Yes, she
time.
did. Yes,
And
she did.
after a few shows, when the show started, before Ari came out, she was allowing Blanche to sing before she came out. And
Yeah.
she was able to leave her 9 to 5, you know, just, you know, from that opportunity. But I digress to go back, you know, to your question, or, you know, to respond to that. It's a number of people that I've been blessed with the opportunity to work with. Let's see. Sean
And by
Martin.
the way, my historian, I got a bunch of historians in here.
Dope.
Okay? Music. So Butcher is associated with Cool G Rap. I would never have known that.
Yes. We just did Lex and I and the team of Five Fingers of Death. Shout out Five Fingers.
5 Fingers of Death.
Yeah, we did an EP last year with Greasy out of he's in New York as well. We did one with The Rapture, who is in Atlanta now, but that's hopefully coming out this year after I get done mixing it, because I know they're giving me grief right now, but I'm almost done. I'm on the last MC Wise. Let me see. You heard show underscore. I did a joint. I did a joint with Tracy Lee actually back in 2012. Yeah, so he was on a joint with Eric Roberson called Lust for Love.
Yes.
So
I interviewed Eric. Eric is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world.
Listen,
yes.
I've been doing production with him and mixing for him since 2012.
Wow. And I know you're friends with Demo Soul, so listen.
I produced his last album.
Fantastic album.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're actually we have a meeting Monday for his new EP we're about to do.
I love it.
So yeah, that I got a chance to play live for Belial here in Dallas. I've played for Lettucey. I've played for Layla Hathaway, Kenny Lattimore. I went on tour with Sean Martin after he put out his album. There's quite a few people that, and I'm probably forgetting some names, and that's fine.
Definitely.
That's not disrespect. It's just I live in my work. It's not about, oh, come look at me and let me come out and be seen and let me wear this and that. I work. I work. So, when you call me, I'm in this room. If I wouldn't be on this phone right now, I would be doing production right now.
So he would.
The mix.
Yes, you would.
This is around. It's Saturday.
Right.
It's a Saturday night, and I'm in the studio.
Yeah. So I wrote down some of the names. So we got Sean Martin, Eric Roberson, Lettucey, Kirk Franklin, Dwelle, Kenny Lattimore, Bilal, Gino Young, Tracy Lee, Kim Burrell, Fred Hammond, Lucky Patterson, Aaron Camper, Bobby Minster, Charles Vernon, Alonzo Ferguson, and Carmen Rogers.
Carmen's my girl.
This is, and she's a singer. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I get it. And listen, we got the Baylor Project on where they were on just now. You know, that's a whole different genre. And I know I could see you doing stuff with them if you haven't already.
I will actually be reaching out to them because there's a project I'm working on this year for somebody that's very special. She has done a lot to put a lot of people together. She's introduced me to a number of people. So I want to put together an album on her behalf. And it's going to be a great surprise for her.
All
And
right.
listen, when y'all are doing these things, reach out to me so I can
Well,
help y'all
absolutely.
get it out there. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing that I will always do is, and any artist that I've ever interviewed, established or up and coming, I will continuously share what they're doing because I think that it is so dope, that
Thank
it's so
you.
amazing. Yes, that is so creative. So, you know, shoot me a DM. I know Lex is on top of it. Lex, let me tell you something. Lex was like, "Nah, we doing this interview." Like,
Shout
no,
out
we
to
gonna get them to
Lex,
do it. And
man.
I'm like, nah, they
I'm
good.
gonna tell you what's crazy. He told you yes before I even saw the
Yes.
request, and then he called me that morning. I said, what are you on and on about?" So he sent it to me. He's like, because he sent screenshots. I was like, "What is this?" Then I go in my inbox like, "Bruh, I mean, I'm gonna do it, but
Yeah.
come on, man. Let me get my shit together
Hey,
first."
hey, Lex don't play. Lex is like, you gotta release that music. Lex don't play.
Facts.
Yes. Yes.
Facts.
I'm definitely, you know, like I said, I'm grateful. I have a whole tribe of people that will send me things because they trust my ear. And I'm grateful that you guys took the time to really, you know, get into it.
Absolutely.
And now I want to switch gears a little bit. Cristy, talk to me about being a broadcast engineer. What is that?
A broadcast engineer. All right. So I work at transmitter sites. So you see the big tall towers, you know, the big tall towers and stuff. I build transmitters.
Wow.
I service transmitters and I do maintenance for transmitters. So if you wanted a TV station, I could, you know, install you a transmitter.
I know that's right. I was like, wait
But
a minute, is this something related to like broadcast TV? You know what I
yeah,
mean? I wasn't sure.
it's all to do with broadcast television, radio, all of that. But I've never been to school for none of it.
Wow.
I just learned on the job. I've been working, like I said, I've been working in radio and broadcasting since I was 15. The majority of my life I've spent in studios, whether it be television, radio, or recording, you know. But most of my time has been spent with, you know, within the broadcasting field. Because, and I went to broadcasting because I didn't have an industry in Dallas. I didn't have music industry in Dallas. So I was like, the closest I can get to the industry is the radio. So I'm gonna go up to this radio station and then make these people listen to I'm gonna sing for them.
No, that's
And
right.
singing for them turned into, I'm gonna go work. I saw somebody come out of the room. He looked like a young kid. He went to Lincoln. His name was Natter, and he went to Lincoln High School in Dallas. He was working for Soul 73 KKDA. I said, well, shit, I'm gonna go get me a job over there too.
I know that's right.
And I refuse to let him out hire me. Frances Davis, she ain't on the live. And somebody shout out Frances Davis. She was the MD for music director for KKDA AM.
Wow.
And I mean, I worried the shit out of her. It took me a whole year, but I got in.
Like, listen, persistence, especially in this industry.
Yeah,
you know,
so I ended up going. Yeah, I went to work over there, and I was like, you know what? Well, you know, I like this. I like this broadcasting thing. I didn't want to really be like on the air or, you know, and because I saw their jobs turn over all the time. I was like, but I know I can learn this engineering thing. I just want to let me be an engineer. So I became an engineer probably about 8 years ago, and just by way of asking questions and worrying the shit out of people, you know. Like I tell people all the time, if it's something you want to be, man, don't worry about if you're gonna get on somebody's nerves, you know. At the end of the day, they're gonna end up being like, oh damn, okay, well let me go and teach her, you know. And now we're in a space to where a lot of young people are going after, you know, IT and stuff, and we still have linear engineering out here where we're dealing with, you know, RF and terrestrial and frequencies and stuff like that. And these young kids ain't trying to learn that, you know, because they can get twice as much money going into IT, and, you know, so a lot of our guys are aging out.
Right,
you know?
right.
And so it's,
you just made me think about something when you said aging out. I don't mean to cut you off. Have you guys experienced ageism in terms of music?
Yeah, I have. I experienced it for myself. I was like, am I getting too? I'm like, man, listen. I shout out to everybody. Listen, I told LA to Los Angeles a few hours ago. I said, listen, I'm still in my 30s. I lost a couple years from COVID. So listen.
That's
The age of singing
right,
has
damn
come
it.
back. I done lost a couple years. I'm finna get ready to tackle this thing. And, you know, I'm looking for the people that's in their 30s who feel like, you know, it's too late. Man, listen, you better go in that studio and record them records. You better sit down behind that drum machine and hit them pads.
Indeed.
For real,
I
man.
think for everyone who feels like you can only be a certain age to create or be in this industry, I would love for them to see my inbox of everybody who's under the age of 25 asking me for advice.
Yes,
I was
indeed.
like, so look, you better come sit down with somebody with some salt and pepper in their life and learn
Talk
something.
about it.
Okay,
Listen.
because
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you're only as old or young as you feel or
As you
as you want to
feel.
be, or more importantly, as your work ethic is.
Well, and that's key,
Yeah,
right? You just hit it on the head. I think the work
find me
ethic.
somebody young who's gonna outwork me. I'll wait.
I
Right.
wait too.
Yeah, most
And
of
the
them.
thing is, I was a single mother. I had to raise my daughter. So I didn't have the time to really do what I can do now.
Right.
I'm good and free now.
Yeah.
I'm really finna put the pressure.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Antone, you said it too. Like, you know, I think the world that we live in where everything is instantaneous, right? You know, there is no patience. They, you know, they don't read, they don't write, they can't do penmanship, they can't, like the stuff that, and I'm 52, so the stuff that you know I was raised up on is work hard, you'll get it. Here is, oh, I just got to click a button and I'll get it. There's
That or
no thought.
if the right person hears it, I'm on.
You know, and how can you, I mean, it's one thing to, you know, fly by the seat of your pants and hope and hope and hope. But there's another thing to have, you know, some real solid things behind you to support who you are as an artist. Thank you, cool. As an artist or as a, you know, a creative, there are thousands, hundreds and thousands of people who are talented out here.
Nobody wants to do the work. I mean, the sad truth of it is right now we're at a microwave mentality where everybody wants everything quick. No one wants to do the work. No one wants to sit in the studio for hours on top hours to perfect their craft. Say, for instance, you do that little tricky one thing to where somebody does hear it. And they do come at you with a deal. And they say, all right, cool, we'll offer you this. Just go into the studio and do it 10 more times. Because
they can't.
You have no foundation, because you have no work ethic of being you know, steadfast to where I know what I did when I created this, and I know what I'm gonna have to do it again. You can't. So you can't produce it. Now you stuck into this deal and you owe them bread and you move back in the house with your mama.
Say it. Or you get that or you get that mentality of, okay, well, this is how it's supposed to go. When I get 35, I'm supposed to be here. When I get 45, I'm supposed to be here. When I get this age, I'm supposed to be. You're supposed to be where you want to be.
Yeah, it takes, you know, I think what it is again, you know, the younger generation, they don't really understand what it takes. They don't understand consistency. It's sleight of the hand. It's trickery. It's, you know, it's all this different stuff. And it's disappointing because the longevity isn't there. And it made me think, and this is also something that I wanted to, you know, ask both of you is, you know, the state of music today, the state of R&B, the state. Antone, you're like, let me. You need a cup of coffee. You need a break before we get into
I'm
this.
looking at the time. Do we have enough time to answer that question?
right. Listen, there's so much going on. I believe that a lot of the good and amazing talent gets lost. The other thing that I struggle with as I listen and look for artists to showcase and talk about and talk to is that a lot of them sound the same.
Yeah.
And it's this very much, you know, sing-songy, I can sing a little something, but, and I'm just like people sleep on Ari Lennox and Summer Walker as actual singers. Like, I like SZA, but SZA is a vibe more to me more than she is a singer. And so when you get a bunch of these younger artists, it reminds me of the Amy Winehouse effect. where a lot of people started coming out sounding like me.
Yeah.
What the hell is going
Yeah.
on? So
She
when
was impressionable though because she was so different. This
right,
is where because the highest form of flattery is
but
imitation.
Imitation.
when I tell you, it's like if I hear one more person that sounds like that, I want to jump out the window. And I'm blessed enough to know that Salam Remy put in work with Amy. You know what I'm saying? He really made her into what she was, aside from her being her own vocalist, right? That takes building, that takes rapport, that takes trust. So when I listen to you two and I hear y'all create with different people, especially you, Antone, where you're dealing with millions, and I'm exaggerating, but hundreds of different types of musicians, and you've got to understand how they work and how they flow. How in the world do you separate each artist, garner their trust, create in the way that work? Like, tell me a little bit about that process too. I mean,
That comes from being diligent and understanding the people you work with. That means you take the time to get out of yourself, to hear past yourself, and hear what other people are capable of and what they're doing. Prince talked about this when he was creating. He would hear how certain people played certain instruments on the songs that he liked, and he would find either that person or somebody who played like them to play like that on his songs. Like, this bass player sounded like this and you sound like that. I need this type of vibe on this song. It's not about calling the absolute best person at the instrument or the person that's hottest right now on IG. Oh man, everybody's trying to get this cat because he can do this and boom, boom, boom. Cool. What's this feel like with a group? Because it's not about him. You can put the absolute best of every instrument together and they could sound horrible as a band. It's about what can we do to come together. And the main thing I look for is people who know how to do that. People who come, together for the sake of the music, of the art, and to be proud to say, I contributed to that. And, I left everything on the table. Eric tells us all the time, he says, we have to die empty. We have to give
That's it.
no,
everything
wait
of
a minute,
ourselves.
damn it. Wait a minute. Say that again.
We
That's
have to
it.
die empty.
Wow.
If you take stuff with you, you are selfish. You weren't doing anything in the
And you're
first place,
unfulfilled. Ooh.
and you're unfulfilled. If you pour into others, trust it comes back. It comes
I love it.
back. But that's where you get stuff where folks hit you up like, "Hey, I don't know who you are. I heard the song that you mixed for this person. I heard this joint you produced. I heard that you were just in the room and you suggested we did X, Y. They do it this way, and I need that type of energy on my
Absolutely.
album. Like, I have a personal goal for myself. I want to be the Black Rick Rubin in this
Say it.
industry.
Say
That's
Amen.
what I want. I want to
it.
be the person in the room to say, all right, you're almost there if you just have this mentality, if you just take this approach, if you call this engineer, if you partner with this person on that's, they can play keys, whatever the case may be. When Cristy came to me and said, I want you to do my EP, dope. I'm going to call a couple other cats that's going to help me out. These weren't just musicians.
Nah.
These were other producers. I'm not greedy. I'm not selfish. Again, I leave everything on the table for the sake of the music. I think if we have that mentality, we'll create so much more. We can really change the paradigm if we all stay steadfast on what we know is right, because we are getting raped with streaming. We
Oh
don't
yeah.
know how to put our foot down with these, with the execs, and they flash money. There's a reason everybody's young. Everybody's young because they don't understand the business. Everybody's young because
That's
they
right.
they don't know what publishing deals to take. You jump at the 360 because it's big money. You don't know about the co-pub or the admin deal where you can keep your publishing and your masters. But we're not taught that.
Right. No.
We don't want to talk
Intentionally.
about it because we want to be flashy and be seen.
That's
We want
right.
the jewelry and the cars, and I want to say I was in the club with whoever. But when it's all said and done, you're not going to be 70 and rapping.
Listen. I'm gonna say this: if you can maintain, let me take a step further, and we talk about this on the other show that I host. When we look at the Rolling Stones and we look at their core fan base, those fan bases and that group of people are not saying they're too old. Our problem is that we're old or older and going into it after all these years and acting like we don't know what to expect. And that's where I think in our community we fail, because there are lots of people right now that are in the industry that are Black and brown that don't have health insurance, that have to have
You better
GoFundMe's
say
because
it.
of different things, and it's because we did not prepare ourselves. We did not learn. We did not read. And then as we get older, our peers are knocking us because of our age. So it's more about understanding who you are as an artist, how far you can go. Can you really, really go that far? Do you have a fan base that's going to carry you, that's going to support you? Because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of the golden era artists right now are outworking the younger artists.
Of course, they packing out arenas. SWV,
I mean,
Keith Sweat, they all get together. They packing out arenas. The artists who actually at the top of the charts can't even fill up a damn club.
Let me see. What was that? December, I want to say 17th last year. Anita Baker was here for a show. Packed that joint out. She is older. She's not as spry as she used to be. So she getting across on that stage. She did a lot of it sitting down. And she was singing some of the songs. Something happened to where she couldn't come out on time. When she came out, before she sung anything, she apologized to the audience. And it's that type of humbleness and humility that a lot of these artists now lack. She did that. Nobody left. Everybody was appreciative. She was singing. She said, "Ooh, I'm tired." Laughed. She made jokes because she is older. And she would sing. She was like, "Y'all had me," and the whole audience sung the song. And it was amazing.
I'm going to do you one better. I just saw Lilo Thomas, The System, Howard Jones, Melba Moore, Jeff Red. Melba Moore
is the monster. Melba Moore is the
out
monster.
Of there.
Undoubtedly.
So I get what you're saying. I get exactly, what you're saying. Yeah, and there's nothing like a Frankie Beverly Mays concert either. You know what I'm saying? These are things that are lacking, I think, in a lot of the younger artists' repertoire, their ability to, and I was talking to Jay Swiss about this, a lot of artists having to cancel performances because they're not selling tickets.
Can't sell the tickets because the labels then bought the streams and bought the,
I mean, it's that, and there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, they bought a lot of that, and I noticed that the younger children, like the younger kids and stuff, they going back listening to 90s music. They on that 90s R&B. My daughter is one of them. She like, "Mama, if you don't put that music out, because they out there, I'm telling you, Mama, this one." I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Omega.
That's my son.
I see. He said, "Talk to him, Dad. Talk to him."
My kids love Luther, Michael Jackson, Smino, No Name, and Ari. So they're up on what's current, but they only appreciate real artistry. And that's because they saw it in the house. A couple of the bands, a couple of the bands that I played with, we rehearsed right here in the house. So the kids, when they come off from school, they're seeing this, like, "Oh, Dad, that's cool." The first few EPs that I put out, which I'm going to re-release them, they're not available right now, but I'm going to re-put them out after I finish my website, after I finish doing 17 albums every year like I do. But my son and his homeboys would come back to me quoting my rhymes back to me from my earlier projects, which means what I wrote resonated with kids of that age and they appreciated it.
They appreciate it.
So I know why I do what I do.
And I get it. I mean, I raised my younger siblings, and my sister can tell you, she knows Gwen Guthrie, she knows Tina Marie,
There you go.
You know what I mean? So I think, again, it does start at home. It does start with exposure. And then, as they get on their own, they'll start to like their own thing, but they'll understand that there is a foundation. They have something to compare it to. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at the time. I really don't want to keep you guys on too much longer.
You heard my
feelings. Oh, Chris. All right. So I do want to talk about the idea of, well, let me take it back. First, Antone, I want to talk to you about composing for TV and film and how you got into
that. Begrudgingly is how I got into it. I almost said no.
Really?
And yes. I did some scenes here and there. I did a couple of intros for some shows. I did Chase Street intro with Jaguar Wright. That's a conversation for another time.
Yes, it is.
I did a couple of scenes in that series as well. And then I did an album for an artist named Alex Blair a couple of years ago. And it was a phenomenal album. Great work. 12 tracks, 4 producers, 5 writers. We put everything into it. And then her PR person put it out. She's still touring and doing shows off of it.
Wow.
And then there was a gentleman who was a director that heard it. And then he and I just happened to meet up somewhere and have a cigar. We were talking. He comes back over. He hears some of the stuff I've done. He's like, I knew you played, because he only see me in the live element. So he only see me as a musician. He hasn't seen me as a producer. He hasn't seen me as an engineer. And that's how a lot of people perceive. They see you at where you at, and because they put limitations on themselves, you can't do more than what I see you doing. Right. So and I like breaking that up. So he came over, he said, have you ever thought about doing this? I was like, not a full film. So there was a film, the first film that I scored was called Older Man, Younger Woman, 2021, came out last year.
23.
It came out, no. I'm sorry, it came out, it did, yeah. You're right. It came out 23. I started on it in 22. It came out in 23. I know we're over 5 million views right now.
Wow. Wow.
It's the production team and the director's first film, and they trusted me to score it. I was nervous, but I did it. Ended up doing too much. They was like, "Oh, bro, we don't need it. This is great." But it was one particular song in there where it was just an instrumental, and I put like the chorus on there from an artist that I had worked with, and before we were even done with the song, the producer called and asked me if I could send him the full song because he just wanted to play it over and over again. One of the artists that I put on there on the opening song that you hear when the film first comes on, her streams went up almost, I think, like 2,000-3,000% on Spotify. Even though she was getting good numbers prior to that.
Right.
So she had the opportunity to grow her fan base from placements like that. That's something else that I stress to artists. It's not just about the streaming aspect and getting signed. When you get placements with sync opportunities, that's real money. That's stuff that lasts because those films will always be there. But those opportunities come from it. People reached out to those artists and myself. So, and I learned that even if you can't do something, say yes.
Right.
Look,
right. It won't hurt.
Learn on the job. Since then, I've gotten 4 more calls about doing some other films.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Because people can't stop. They was like, we love how everything we heard matched what we saw. Like as far as the words being said, even though the people on the screen weren't saying anything, it made sense.
Right.
And I even learned some things. Like, one, I didn't need to have all of those bumps in between the scene changes. I didn't use all of them, but I didn't have to create it.
Right.
I could have put that energy somewhere else. I know on the next film, not only will I score it, but I'm also going to mix it. Because I didn't mix that one, but I'm going to mix the next one.
Right.
And, I spent 2023, just immersing myself in sound immersion and doing mixes in Dolby Atmos. So going forward, that's how I'll be mixing.
Gotta say that, sir.
I love it.
So
I love it.
You got to keep raising the bar.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's how I got into it. It was a chore. I felt like I did an okay job. People told me I did an excellent job.
You did an excellent job.
So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yes. Shout out to Mr. Man from the Bush Babies in the building. Thank you for joining us, family. Cristy, what you got going on next, honey? What you got going on? What's coming up for you?
For me? Oh man, just music. My catalog is so crazy until it don't make no sense. I probably got about 30 years worth of music and material in my catalogs. And I do a lot of sync too.
Wait.
Yeah, I got a lot. I do a lot of sync.
You got a lot.
Yeah.
You said syncing?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That's what I was doing. That's why I was so lazy getting my stuff out as an artist. Because
Gotcha.
I'll place 4 or 5 songs or whatever and do voiceover work and all of that kind of stuff till it's like, okay, well, I got, comfortable. And I'm like, but at the beginning, how did you start? You were an artist.
Right.
So why not do it? Look at sis. LA.
Do it all.
Yeah. So and then I love live. I love live shows. I love I love to perform, and that's just one of them things. So going forward, I'm ready to retire from broadcasting. It's about that time.
I'm mad.
She needs to be a full-time artist is what she needs to be.
Listen.
Exactly.
We got to get on the road.
The talent
on the road. Yeah.
The talent is there, right? You guys mesh well. You do your own thing. You do your own thing. Then you guys come together. Then you bring people in. I love it. I mean, it's like, this huge collective. And I know, Antone, I found out about Mavtones, Soul Committee. Like, you do a bunch of things. You guys have your own your own companies, your own production companies. You got you got that. I'm just really, honestly, I'm just thoroughly impressed with the way that you guys have worked. The little bit in the short time that I have found out about you is a lot. And I'm sorry I slept on y'all because I had no idea.
I really hadn't I ain't really just been out there like, this is the time. It's like pressure time. 2024. It's like, hey, let people in, because I remember if this was 06, I would be viral sensation because I was everywhere in 2006. Car shows, every Summer Jam, K104 I would just go to DJ booths and make them play my records, and
I love it.
I was just doing all kind of crazy stuff, but I got older and I was like, oh, I'm tired of that. But at this point,
I love it.
At this point, no more whisper singing. We gonna sing. 2024, we singing.
Okay.
We singing.
All right. We talking about it. I want you to please bless us with a little song. Anything you want to sing.
That I gotta sing easier. I guess I wish I had LA synced up in here with me, but she ain't in here, so let me see something. Let's see. Can y'all hear that?
Come on with it. Yes.
Hey, yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Absolutely.
It go like this and say, babe, there's no reason for you to be acting shady when all I wanna do is be old lady. Yeah. Come on, let's go. We get mad and we both go crazy. Can't keep on breaking up the makeup. I'm just saying, oh yeah. Come on. I said I know it's easy. Oh yeah. Raise the flag, yeah. Oh, I said I know it. Yeah. I feel like if LA was here, I'm gonna hit your verse, sis. I'm gonna sing it a little bit. If LA was here, she would say it like this. She said, think I wanna raise my flag. No, I wanna lower my guard. Think I'm about to let you in, so I gotta stop making this thing so hard. I can never get enough of this love, but still I make it so tough for us. So if I wanna be your everything, then I gotta start learning how to trust you too. Never thought it'd be easy, baby, but I'm so exhausted. In the day I almost lost you, boy, I fucking lost it. I don't be feeling that often. Never wanna go there again. So you gotta make a promise to be my nigga, my lover, and my friend. Yeah. Whoa. And wave it. Yeah.
Hey, you making me want to do the Drew Hill.
Listen.
But wait a minute, y'all missed Tone though. Tone on this part, he said I wish you was.
Why you gotta bring it up? Don't bring it up. That's why I had it turned down.
But it ain't. There you are.
Yes, Bob.
I say. And I know that it's easier, yeah. And waving, oh,
Take your time, girl.
yeah.
Church.
All day.
Raise the flag.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Said I can't wait no time no more. Yeah. Said I can't wait no time no more. No. Oh, yeah. That's
good.
it.
I'm good now. I'm good.
Listen, like I just said, I felt like I was getting ready to do the Drew Hill. Come on with it.
Listen, that's just one song. Imagine a whole show of that.
Yes.
With a live band for us being able to go in, mic toss, everything. Like that's the part of being an artist. You got to be a complete artist. You got to be able to sing, be an entertainer. That's the type of people I work with. That's why she on this phone right now with us. That's like she's that person.
Yes.
And everybody else that we should all aspire for that.
Yeah.
To be, to perfect our craft or to go as high as we can. Cristy, good job, baby.
Thank you.
Good job.
I appreciate it. Shout out to LA to Los Angeles, man. That say I can't wait to have my sis on the stage with Antone on the stage. I can't wait to. We Ear Hustling is gonna go worldwide, and I'm in love with this whole thing. I appreciate you guys. God bless y'all, man.
Listen, it is my pleasure. I'm just really glad. Again, I really gotta shout Lex out.
Lex,
because he
Lord.
put me on. LA to Los Angeles. I'm gonna check you out. I'm gonna check out your music as well. For my tribe that has been with me for the last almost 3 years now. Thank you for joining and supporting Triborough. Thank you for joining. Listen, I need y'all to tell people where they can find anything and everything related to your music. Cristy, you go ahead first.
Cristy B Music, Cristy B, CRISTYBmusic.com. And mainly, I start everything on my IG. Like my IG page is the hub for everything, and that's Cristy B, CRISTBHUH. So everything,
all right.
I do is start there.
Y'all froze up on me.
You got
it? Hang on. Okay, y'all froze for a second. Okay, we back.
All right. So for mine, everything's on IG and TikTok at the moment under BrassBruiser, BrassBruiser. I have been working on a website. Once I can pull away from working on these albums, I'm gonna get done with this website where I will post my earlier EPs. I think I have 7 of them that I've done personally, outside of what I've done with everybody else. But let me see. Some of the artists that we named earlier: Kelly Douglas, of course, Cristy B, Show Underscore, Claudia Melton, Blanche, Blythe Dennis. Let me turn around and look at my board.
It's
all good.
Board. It's the board for me.
There's a board.
It's the board.
Look, Angela Nice, Brayla, Brett Baker, Demo, Jade Massentoff, Miz, Just Miz, LePage. All these people have projects coming out. this year, and I'm gonna
Lawyer
share
Turner. Don't
all of
forget
it.
Lawyer
Lawyer
Turner.
Turner, amazing gospel artist. He's dropping an album on the 11th of April. Um, he and I met 17 years ago. He is a
Yes,
monster
yes,
vocalist.
yes, he is.
He's amazing vocal producer, singer, writer.
Mm-hmm.
My partner in crime. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm very blessed with the people that I have the opportunity to work with
Mm-hmm.
because they make me better. Cristy makes me better. All these names that I just gave, they make me better. That's why I'm on this phone, because of them, not because of me by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I
And you
love it.
make me better. And can I shout out two more other people? I want to shout out Aisha Childs. Aisha Childs came through in the clutch to Tone's house, put them vocals where I needed
Sure
them.
did.
And shout out my daughter Carmen Brown. Carmen Brown came through in the clutch.
Come on, Carmen.
She wasn't trying to sing nothing. She came through and put it on there, even though she was so upset about it. But she did it. It sounded great. Shout out LA to Los Angeles, my sister. God bless you. Shout out Songbird White, my cousin. Shout out Allie. Allie is my manager, and when she need to be, my personal assistant, my booking agent.
Your
She
right
everything.
hand.
My
I
right
love it.
hand.
I love it.
Yes.
Listen, it takes a
Shout out, we
village.
are here hustling. Shout, boy,
Thank
shout
you.
out Antone Amalbert.
Thank you,
Shout out
Nubi. Thank you
Antone.
very
Shout out
much.
Lex
Thank you.
LexZyne Productions. Shout out Five Fingers of Death. Yeah.
Five fingers
Okay.
of death. Listen, I'm grateful. I'm glad that I have this platform where I can share everything. You know, for all of those, like I said, my tribe that joined, the new folks that joined, that this is their first interview. Listen, I do this pretty frequently. You can also see me on Weekly Rap Gods, Tap the Mic, where we're interviewing some amazing hip hop artists. My job in this is to share the talent, is to get it out there. And sometimes it's not what people like, it's what I like. It's my show.
Talk
So I'm
about
gonna put out what I want to put out.
Talk your talk, sis.
And I feel
it.
like my ear has not failed me yet. So I feel like, listen, I want to stay in tune with you guys. I want to make sure that when y'all are working on things, that I make time
Absolutely.
to listen and share and make sure that I get it out to the masses.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely going to be talking to Errol about y'all. Like, yeah, you ain't telling me you was working with them. You know what I mean? Again, what you guys are doing is amazing. I thank you so much for your time. You did not have to accept this offer for an interview, but I think it's important that people know who you are. Come on back when you're ready.
Well,
My tribe, please check them out on IG, TikTok, on their website. They provided it. I'm going to throw this interview up not only here on my page, but it'll also be on my YouTube page, which is We Ear Hustling Baby, with Nubi the Ear Hustler. Thank you for your time this evening. Y'all be blessed. You
Thank
are
you.
more
God
than
bless you.
welcome. Thank you. Mwah. Stay blessed, stay warm, be kind, be good to yourself, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Peace.